Hello guys, it's Foxy. Now, before I start the video, please subscribe and like. And now, I'm doing what Deku was Catwoman. Yes, the first episode, and I am beyond excitement. Now, how this all gonna start is, we're gonna find Inko Midoriya in the hospital, giving birth to our little cat. And by the picture you saw, that will be what Deku's suit, or his suit will look like. But imagine it as a boy version. It just doesn't have that chest, but everything else is the same. Yep. Now I'm gonna kind of go into a third person point of view. Yes. Now let's try this. Hopefully I don't fail. Right now, we see Inko Midoriya in a hospital bed, yelling in agony. How much longer? She whines. One more push, you just need one more push, our doctor says calmly. She nods. She does one more final hard push, and a baby comes out. The baby's name is Izuku Midoriya. The doctors take the baby away without Inko seeing what the baby looks like. The doctors clean the baby up, washing the blood from the green hair, and cleaning the big fluffy cat ears, and wash the long green tail, and clean the pale skin, and wrap the baby up in a beautiful green blanket. It was soft to the touch and nice and warm for the baby. The doctor turned to Inko and gave Izuku to Inko. At one look, Inko was disgusted. Inko Midoriya does not. And Inko Midoriya hates mutation quirks. She was disgusted, but didn't show it to the doctors. Instead, she put a fake mask on. Why, thank you so very much, Doctor. Inko says politely, the doctor's nod. Now we see Inko arriving home with Deku in her arms. Izuku in his arms, I mean. And puts him in the baby room. Ugh, why do I get a disgusting creature as that? She says while rolling her eyes, placing her hands on her hips. Whatever, she says while walking out the room. Now, we're going to skip 4 years into the future. Deku, over this time, has grown not much. He's shorter than other kids and malnourished, but he's a pickpocket. Yes, our baby Deku does steal. Yes. But we're going to cut to where Deku is at school wearing a hoodie and baggy pants. His long, fluffy tail curled around his right leg. His cat ears folded to the back of his head. Deku wore contact lenses to hide the slitted eyes. hide his slitted eyes. He got back home from school like usual. Not happy. The bulleting from Bakugo Kaski has gotten worse. No, not worse. The bulleting from Kaski isn't helping Naruto. Not Naruto, Deku. Shoot. Deku. His mother, right after he was born, Hazashi Midoriya left. Didn't leave any money, a note, nothing. So Inko has fallen in the state of drinking and smoking and leaving Deku on the floor covered in bruises and cleaning. Deku arrives home just before his mother can. Deku starts cleaning, picking up the empty beer bottles, throws them away, cleaning up the cigarette ashes, washed the floor, swept, did the dishes, made the food, cleaned the dishes again. He cleaned the entire house before his mother got home. Deku quietly walked to his room. When he got in there, it was small, but good enough for Deku. He grabbed his backpack and opened it. There was a bunch of books in there. Math, science, social studies, and a bunch of other things. Deku started to study. After an hour, Deku heard the door open and close and lock. Deku picked up placed his stuff in neat order. He heard his mom stumble into the house. Deku prayed to himself, please, oh, please be happy, please don't come in the room, please, I beg of you. Deku said to himself, while grabbing a hat and placing it over his head to hide his ears, then used the hood and covered himself and started to say once again, prayed and prayed over and over again. His mother ended up coming to the room. But unfortunately for Deku, she did. Anger filled her voice. It's your fault that I got fired from my job. It's your fault that Hazashi left me. It's your fault, she yells at Deku over again while grabbing him by the neck and throwing him to the ground. Start to beat him. The whip, a bat, a belt, anything. But the one thing that hurt Deku the most was when she grabbed a knife and cut his face. The cut was deep. It cut right over his right eye. It burned, but I used the urge to scream. Cut the blood, stained his eye. It hurt. At the end of the night, Deku had enough. He had enough of his poor treatment. He knows that a child should not be treated like this. Deku cleaned up his wounds and packed all clothes he had, money, anything. Packed everything and anything he needed. strange. I didn't go to the quirk doctor. Maybe I should. Yeah, maybe. Deku thought to himself. There was a quirk doctor place where they do 24 hours. Maybe I have enough money for it, Deku said to himself while looking through his bag while running through the streets. There was enough money in there to check his quirk. Deku closed the bag and zipped it, making sure no one can steal the money. Deku ran fast through the alleyways and streets. 10 minutes later, Deku arrived at the quirk doctor. Here we go, we can do this. I can do this. Just walk in, give them the money. Deku said to himself while walking to the quirk doctor. A young lady, blonde hair, pale skin, and red eyes looked at him. Well, hello, young man. Do you have an appointment here today? I'm sorry, I don't, but I have the money to cover for it. Could you fit me in somewhere? Oh, well, you are lucky, young man. No one is, there's no appointment, so you can just walk right in. But where are your parents? I came here myself. Why, young man? I'm sorry, but I can't tell you, Deku says. Okay, but make sure you tell your parents, okay? I nodded. The young lady started to make a call. Maybe to the doctor. Oh, hello. Hello, yes. This is, Angela. Yes. There's a young man down here who wants to get his quirk checked. Hold on. What's your name, young man? I'm sorry for not asking you earlier. Oh, it's Azuki Midoriya. Okay. The young boy's name is Azuki Midoriya. Yes. Okay. She hanged up the phone. Well, and let me escort you to the doctor's office, she said while smiling. Deku nodded his head and followed the young lady. A couple seconds later, they were in front of a door. Well, this is your stop, she said while opening the door. But before I ask before you go in, why are you up this late? Can't tell you, Deku says. Also, young man, why do you have a bandage over your right eye? She said, concerned. I just ran into a pole, Deku said while scratching the back of his head. Oh, you should be more careful, she said while scratching rustling the young boy's hair. And not really his hair, rustled his head and walked off. Deku sighed and walked into the office. Well, you are my patient? Azuki Midoriya? Yes, yes, Azuki Midoriya, Deku said while bowing. No need for bowing, no need. Now please, sit down in the chair and let me touch your hand. Deku nodded and walked up to the chair and sat in it. Young man, you shouldn't be out this late. There's a lot of bad people out here. I know, but I really can't tell you the reason. Okay, but please don't do this again. A lot of kids do it and some get hurt. I understand. I won't do it again. Deku said while lying through his teeth. The doctor touched his hand. There was a glow to the doctor's eyes. Well, you have a very, very interesting quirk. What's my quirk's name? Yeah, what can my quirk do? You asked while stuttering. Well, it's a cat quirk. Do you have any, features of a cat? Deku nodded while pulling down the hood and pulling off his hat, showing big fluffy ears. Oh, you're so cute, the man said while scratching the behind the ears. Deku purred. Weirdly, his tail came out and wagged back and forth. Oh, I see you really do like it. Yeah, Deku said while blushing. Well, you have the abilities of a cat. Stealth, strength, speed, and you also can grow out claws. You're silent, and you also can transform into a cat. Really? Mm-hmm. Here, let me write down everything, the doctor says while turning back to his desk and started writing down something. 2 minutes later. Here, young man. These are the abilities you can do, but what do you want to call your quirk? Kitty cat, Vicky says, right on top of his mind. Interesting. When you think about it a little more wisely, the doctor says while leaning back in his chair. Vicky starts thinking. Stealthy cat. Maybe. Okay, let's do that. Are you sure about it? The doctor turned to his computer and started to type. Alright, the quirk is in the database, and you're free to go. Thank you, Deku says while bowing. Have a nice day, young man. Deku nodded and walked out the door. And he started to walk out. He looked towards the young lady again. Have a nice day, pretty lady, Deku says while smiling brightly. You too, young man. You too, Deku. No, not Deku, Izuku. Be safe, the young woman says. I will, Deku says while running out the door. Deku started running through the alleyways. So the doctor says I can grow out claws. Interesting. Deku started to focus on his hands. Started to imagine claws of cat. In no time, claws replaced his nails. They were sharp and black. Cool. Dispel. Deku imagined claws would go away. Claws went away, and his fingernails were back. Deku yawned. Time to sleep. It was a 30 minutes of running through alleyways. He finds from the lake. Deku says while looking around. There's something caught his eye. Deku walked towards the thing that caught his eye. He heard a meow and a hiss. It's a cat. Deku lifted up the cardboard and saw a black cat with piercing blue eyes. The cat hissed and backed away. It was clearly starving. Oh no, don't worry. I'm not gonna hurt you, Deku says while sitting down, looking as small as possible, having his tail and ears out. Popping out his tail and ears. Cat calmed down slightly and started to walk towards Deku. The cat sniffed Deku's face and started to rub against him. Black liquid came off the cat. Oh, Deku says while getting up and rubbed the cat's back. The same liquid was on his hands. Well, why don't we get you cleaned up, Deku says while grabbing the cat. Now, I know you might hate water, but you need to get cleaned up, Deku says, and looking for a clean water source. Deku couldn't find anything, but he was in the porch. But he decided to. Well, I'm gonna stop right here for a minute. I have no choice then, Deku thought to himself while looking at a building. It was an apartment building. Everything's turned off. Deku placed the cat in his bag. Stay, Deku said, while picking up the backpack that held the cat. I imagined the same type of claws on his fingers. The nails disappeared and the claws appeared. Deku started to climb up the apartment building. He opened the first window he could see. He used his heightened senses to see if anyone was awake. No, everyone was asleep. Deku used his night vision to walk through the apartment quietly. He turned on the water. Placed the cat in there. Shh, now you need to be quiet. I'm in someone else's home, Deku says quietly. Somehow the cat understood and stayed quiet. Deku cleaned off the black goop and also cleaned off the goop on his face and hand, revealing a pearl white cat. There you are, precious, Deku says while hugging the cat. Now, we need to give you a name. We need to, Deku said. What? Selena, Deku said. The cat meowed. So you agree, Deku said quietly. He turned off the water. Okay, now we need to get out of here, Deku said while placing the cat back in the bag, hoping that the wet cat won't get anything. It won't break anything. He placed the backpack over his shoulders and walked out. Something else caught his eye. It was a pearled necklace. It was real. Deku couldn't help but walk towards it. The window was still open, so Deku snatched the pearl necklace and dove out the window, using his claws to cut in, to grab on to the building. Okay, Deku said while smiling. I don't know what's wrong with me, but I'm excited. This is a general. Never mind. I don't know what's wrong with me, but this was exciting. Deku said while smiling. Deku closed the window quietly. Now, Selena, we need to get out of here and wait until morning. Deku said while smiling. Deku found a corner in an alleyway. He covered himself and Selena on the boxes trying to hide themselves. Deku opened up a can of cat food and grabbed out a burger. Right, time to eat. Well, as Deku said that, he placed the cat food down and dove into his burger. It was a full meal for Deku, and he loved every part of it. Oh, that was good. How about you, Selena? When you looked down, the metal tin can was clean. No remnants of cat food. Selena was curled up right next to him. He put everything away and hid his backpack. Now, time to sleep, Dick said while curling up to Selena. Nighttime, Deku said to himself. And this is the end of part 1 to What If Deku Was Catwoman. I'm excited. You are too. Yes! Have a good day and adios.